Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 60 Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs from the Crafty Vault. I have a little bit of everything in today's video, including an apothecary and a Halloween tier tray. So let's get started with Halloween DIYs.
I chose the largest wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I wanted to weave the entire wreath form with Dollar Tree rope. So it's going to take a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a lot of packages. I love it when I can find the Dollar Tree rope in the box at the Dollar Tree, because you can really kind of stock up on it if you need to. I start by hot gluing it just to the back there of the structure, just to get it started, and then we are just going to weave. It's really kind of fun to make these weave. They are like, time consuming when you weave a wreath like this, but it turned out so nice. I love it. So I just went under the bar, and then I'm going to go over the inside bar, and then I'm going to pull that back through. But I was just trying to make sure it's good and attached here. I actually used a little bit of twine to tie it off, just because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of pulling on it. I don't want to pull that off. So I go around the pole, and this time in the middle, instead of going under, I go over. Then I pull it under the outer one. Going to reverse that, go under this time, and then over, through, over the middle one, and then under. You're just doing the opposite for each row. And then you're also going to want to keep it tight. There's all the little sections on there. So you're going to want to try to get as many rows in a section as you can to keep it super tight, so you won't be able to see through it. You want it to be really nice and woven. And you can already see that great pattern forming. So I'm just going to kind of squish here until I can't string anymore. Then I can switch to the next section. And that's about how far one package of rope got me. I just hot glue it to the back, and then hot glue my next one right next to it, so I can continue that same pattern of weaving. And then we're going to speed this way up because, like I said, super time consuming. But I basically just do the same thing till I run out, hot glue it to the back, start a new one, and keep the weave going. Now, my plan on this is I wanted to do like a spooky forest wreath for my front door. And I actually made this 2 years ago on my channel, and I'm still using it for my Halloween wreath because it is adorable. I don't want to replace it because I love it. I burn off all the fuzzies on my rope once I got the whole thing woven. And then for the spooky forest, I'm going to use a little black tree that I got at Target Dollar Spot. They do have these this year. I was just at Target today. This one's kind of a fuzzy material. The ones that they have this year are not fuzzy like this, but they look just the same. I'm just going to remove it from the pot that it was in. I only want the spooky tree, and it's the perfect size to fill up this wreath. I kind of want to hide the stem here on the back, but I want like all of the branches to be visible on the front. So I'm going to start here by hot gluing that to the inside, the back of the wreath. And then I'm also going to use some just excess rope that I had to try to hot glue to that, just to have a little bit more to glue to, kind of making like a little handle down here to hold onto the bottom of the tree. And this has definitely held up well. Again, this is like the 3rd year I'll be displaying this, but all these supplies are still available at the Dollar Tree and the Dollar Spot, so you should be able to recreate. Now for the branches, I'm just going to hot glue the tips to my wreath form on the sides and the top, just to kind of keep this in place and exactly where I want it to be without having to tie that to the top of the wreath at all. Especially with these upper branches are really important to secure. So I just hot glue those to the woven wreath, which I think turned out so pretty. It was time consuming, but I think it was worth it. Now, if you wanted to stay with the burlap theme, though, you could get a similar look by wrapping it with burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. But again, the rope is jute, so it's going to give you the same feel. Now, I want this to look nice and creepy, so we're going to use some Dollar Tree black bats. They are glitter, but we're going to kind of make it work. These are the little clips. I don't really need the clips on these, so you can always pull those off and hot glue them on where you need. I want them to kind of look like they are flying away from the spooky forest. And then I wanted to use some of those cute little Dollar Tree ghost ornaments to decorate the tree and the wreath too. So I just pulled the pins off the back of these, the little clips, and then I just used hot glue to attach the bats. I want them to look like they're flying, kind of in the same direction there, and hot glue those to the rope. And I did a total of 4 here, all on the right side. Now, I also wanted to have a sign, so I'm going to use one of the little metal Halloween signs from the Dollar Tree. Honestly, any of these would be good. I decided to go with the word haunted, kind of for the haunted forest, right? And then I thought we could hang these little ghosts all around, like in our little spooky tree, to make them look fun. Oh, yeah, I switched it up and changed the word spooky. Any of them would have worked. I just go ahead and paint all of my white ghosts. I'm going to kind of do an ivory color on these, but you could totally do white if you wanted. I was using chalk paint just to try to make that stick to the galvanized metal sign a little bit better, but I wanted to stay with that black and white theme, so I wanted that to be white instead of the metal. So it did require a couple coats of chalk paint still to get good coverage on that, but I wanted all my ghosts to be cute and ivory as well. Okay, let's put this together. These ornaments come with little hangers if you need them. So I'm going to just string some of these into our little haunted forest tree. The shape on these are perfect. I love the way the bottom of these are like pointed and frilly like that. And then it's just a matter of figuring out exactly where you want your little ghost to be. Tied this one right down here. And then this one, I actually ended up using it more like it was coming away from the tree a little bit. So I ended up attaching that one to the rope wreath. Just hot gluing it to that. But I do want it to dangle down like that because I think that looks cute. And then I have enough room for spooky at the top of our little wreath up here, off to the side. And I just use hot glue to attach that as well. And I think this is one of my most reshared or most looked at pins on Pinterest. Everybody loves this wreath, so I wanted to show you it because I thought it totally went with the theme of the other DIYs that we made new today. Now for the ribbon on this, I'm going to do the same kind of bow with a zip tie. This is the black and white gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make as many loops as I can to make a nice fat bow, and then I'm going to cinch it all together with a zip tie. Right in the middle, this one's even easier because you don't have to turn it. The black and white gingham pattern is on both sides. So just like before, I pull my tails down to one side, and then I can trim them off the same length, dovetailing them if you want. I wanted a nice, fun bow to go on the bottom of this wreath. They are wire rimmed, even though they're from Dollar Tree, so you can shape it into a nice, giant bow. I'm going to attach mine right here to the bottom by taking some twine and tying that to the bottom of the wreath. And I think that was the perfect final touch for this little Dollar Tree wreath. Once I attach it, I just arrange it and then use a little bit more twine for the top to make a very simple little wreath hanger just by knotting that twine. And this is how it looks on my front door for Halloween. How cute is that? I love it. I love the simplicity of the black and white colors, and I think it looks great on my white door.
And it's actually held up really well. I've been using it for Halloween for several years now, and I've got so many compliments on it. It's one of my favorite wreaths I think I've ever done on my channel. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'd really appreciate it if you would hype this video.
Okay, let's move on to gnomes. Now, I got some of these black sparkle socks. We're only going to need one from Dollar Tree. And I want to weigh it down because we are going to make some fun sock gnomes for Halloween. So I had some leftover gravel from the Dollar Tree. You can use whatever you've got. You can even use beans, rocks, whatever. You just want something to weigh down the bottom of your gnome. And then I'm going to use some fluff from an old pillow to stuff the body of my little gnome. And I want it to be long enough to use one of the little gnome beards from the stockings from the Christmas section at Dollar Tree. And so I kind of use that as a guide. So probably about halfway up, I'm going to take a black zip tie from the hardware section at Dollar Tree, zip tie that off, and cut off the remaining sock. Now, I got one of these stockings. I love these because you can, if you're careful, just use a little hot glue to remove the little gnome beard from the stocking, and it is going to be ready to go, nose and all. And we're going to make this gnome a black cat one. So I also got a black cat costume from the kids aisle at Dollar Tree. That's that same black sparkle material. My beard was a little bit bigger than it needed to be, so I just trimmed it down to size. And we're going to glue that on right underneath where we zip tied the sock. And I just hot glue that. We're going to have a little gnome hat that kind of covers up that area that we zip tied the top of the sock. And it's also going to cover up the top of the beard. So this is the piece we had left over. These black sparkle socks are perfect because they match my costume, but they're not super long, but that's okay. We can still kind of make it into a point. And I use another zip tie to kind of, narrow it down and close it off at the end. I do a little bit more pillow stuff in that to make it stand up. And we have a little tiny black gnome hat. And I hot glue that down to the back, also on top of the beard, just to kind of keep it all together. And I love these black sparkle socks that I got at the Dollar Tree. I think they're so cute for a Halloween gnome. So we're going to trim off the excess zip tie here, trying to form that into a point the best that we can. And then comes in the costume. It comes with a little headband with cat ears, a tail. It's going to be perfect. So I just cut like the strap off the tail. We are going to cut the ears off the headband because the headband's just too big for our little gnome. But we want these really cute little black sparkle ears. And we can just attach those directly to the hat that we made for the gnome. I'm just trimming them down, trying to make them look the best that I can, hot gluing those in place where they would be sticking out like on the side if this were a little black cat. I know the Dollar Tree Plus has some really cute Halloween gnomes this year, but I always enjoy making them. I think they're so fun to DIY. So he has two little cat ears. So now it's time for the tail. I was trying to figure out the best way to attach it. It does have like a little elastic strap here that goes around. And so I just went ahead and wrapped that around my existing gnome, but I also did have to hot glue it here in place at the bottom of my little cat gnome so it will stay in place. And you can't really see the strap in the front anyway because it has the beard. Now I am going to use some black pipe cleaners for little, it needs little whiskers for our little black cat. So I'm going to do like 2 whiskers on each side with that, just cutting those down to size. I was trying to decide if it needed 2 or 3, but these black pipe cleaners are kind of thick. So I ended up only using 2. And I just hot glue those right above the nose on each side. And that is pretty much all there is to it. We have a sparkly, a black cat gnome. I think it is so cute. I love this little guy. This is how he turned out.
And I really appreciate the black glittery effect on him. He is not only kind of fun, cute, spooky, but also that black glimmery sheen that I like for Halloween.
We're going to do a total of 3 little gnomes for Halloween. So I'm going to use my other black sparkle sock, filling that in with some pebbles to weigh that down as well. And this one's going to be a vampire bat gnome. I found a great bat black sparkle headband, I think at Dollar General for $1. And they might have those at Dollar Tree too, but I couldn't find one. I also used my pillow fluff on this one. We're going to make this one exactly the same way. So we zip tie about halfway up after stuffing it with the pillow fluff. And we're also going to use another one of these. I stock up on these every year at Christmas, and a lot of my stores have Christmas stuff out right now, so you might be able to find them. And I just remove the beard, making sure the nose is glued on properly, and then trimming it down to size because I know it'll be a little bit too big. So same thing, I hot glue the little beard onto the black sparkle socks right up there at the top. And then we can start working on the gnome hat. Again, these are a little bit shorter than gnome hats than I would like. So if you can find a longer sock, it'd be perfect. But I love the black sparkle. So that is definitely why I went for this pair. So I just zip tie the point or the bottom into a point and give that a little bit of stuffing. We definitely want that to stand straight up since it's not a very tall gnome hat. And same thing, we're going to hot glue that to the back and then also to the front. You want that little gonk look of covering up the little gnome eyes. And then we can decorate this as a bat. The little headband has like little black sparkle bat wings, little black bat ears, and it's really simple to decorate this gnome. We're just going to trim off each one of the bat wings and each one of the little ears. We're also going to add another detail to this one that I thought would be really fun. So I'm going to flip my gnome over and just glue the little bat wings here to the back. And these are kind of like a black glitter, so it goes perfect with the black sparkle. Cleaning that up a little bit. And then the little bat ears here to the top. And I don't just want him to be like a little bit of a bat gnome. I also want him to look like a vampire bat gnome since we're doing Halloween. So I thought he just needed one more feature. The cat costume came with a bow tie, so I had some extra black sparkle fabric. So I just cut down 2 little vampire fangs out of the black sparkle as well. And we can like attach those inside the little gnome beard. And I thought that gave him a really funny little touch. So here he is, our ferocious little vampire bat gnome. I love him. I think he's so adorable. And this is how he turned out. So cute. Just a couple items from the Dollar Tree and Dollar General.
Isn't he so cute? Okay, coming up next, we have one more of the Halloween gnome DIYs. For the next one, we're going to be doing a ghost gnome with Dollar Tree socks.
Now for the last Halloween gnome, I wanted to do a white ghost gnome. So again, I'm going to use one of the little beards, gnome beard stockings from the Dollar Tree. But this time we're going to use some white socks. I couldn't really find any kind of socks with lots of character. So I just got some plain like white anklet socks. It's all I really could find at Dollar Tree. And we're just going to make it work. So this really only includes like, the body of it. But we're going to do the same thing, just weighing it down. I'm just using whatever rocks I had and some pillow fluff. And since this is not a really thick plush sock, you do have to shape it a little bit more to try to get it a smooth appearance. So we're just going to fill that up until I get my little gnome tall enough. And then we are just going to use a zip tie to gather that together. Again, these are anklet socks, so there's really not enough fabric left at the end to make a hat out of, but we have both, the whole pair, so we can put both of them together. I'm going to take my little gnome beard from the stocking, hot gluing that to the top, just like we did before, and then hot gluing that to the sock itself. And then we can use the other anklet sock for the little hat. I was trying to figure out how I was going to make that work. We're going to do the toe of the sock for the pointy end. So I just zip tie that in place and then use a little pillow fluff. So this one is going to be a little bit taller, which is great because I want to decorate that part of the hat to kind of make it look like a ghost. So I just keep filling it with fluff. As you can see, again, those socks are a little bit trickier because you do kind of have to mold the fluff inside to kind of get the right shape. But I'm going to go ahead and attach it with some hot glue, doing like the little heel on the back there where you can't really see it. But I still have that finished edge to be the brim of my hat. I thought I didn't really like how it was looking, so I removed the zip tie to try to shape that a little bit more. I probably should have had it looking a little bit better before I put it on there. I hot glue it, overlapping his nose a little bit, reshaping the hat a little bit, and reattaching the zip tie to give us that pointy little gnome hat tip. Now, I wanted to make it look like a ghost. So to do that, I'm going to use some black felt, and I'm just going to cut out some little oval pieces here for little ghost eyes. 2 of them about the same size. Just trying to make them look a little bit like a circle. And then we can just attach those to the white gnome hat with hot glue. And then I'm also going to trim up the beard a little bit into an abnormal like shape, like it would be like a little bit of a ghost tail going off to the side. And I'm also going to kind of glue the hat in like a droopy fashion to give it a little bit of character up there. And this is how this one turned out. This is our little ghost gnome using some white socks from Dollar Tree and the little gnome beard.
And I just love how they turned out. I love making sock gnomes. That's a really enjoyable craft. I used to not be fans of gnomes. I know a lot of people aren't, but once I made my first one, I was kind of in love with them. I think they're so cute. Let me show you how the 3 of them all look together.
Let's keep crafting. Now, I really love haunted houses for Halloween, and these little plastic dollhouses from Dollar Tree make perfect haunted houses. You're going to want to pick 2, the same style, and then you can just put them together. They clip together, and you can put them together and make a whole house. So you're going to need 2 of these. I'm not going to need any of the accessories, but I took mine outside and used some black spray paint to paint it, and I decided to do a set. So I had another 2, took them outside, spray painted them all black, and then now we're going to make them look creepy. So I'm going to use a combination of like elephant, ivory, and ink black colors to give us that haunted house look. So I don't want them to be just straight black. I want to bring out all this great detail on the plastic. And so the first thing I do is take ivory, a chunky brush, and I'm just dry brushing all over and getting all that great texture. You can see how much creepier this is making it look. I'm going to do a set of 2 of these that are going to be, pretty much the same. They're just going to kind of complement each other. So just with the ivory alone, you can see how much character that brought out and how much that made that look like a little haunted house. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here with the other one. You want to distress everything, the siding, the roofing, the windows, any kind of detail, you can bring that out. And I definitely recommend spray painting these first because they're a little tricky to paint the insides. You might be able to see those bright colors inside if you don't. So I just keep going with like the different colors of gray and white or ivory. And I went ahead and did a second one here, exactly the same. Just wanted to show you that. And then it's just a matter of popping them together. There's a little clip on this side. You have to kind of get it just perfect. And then you can pop them together. And if you have any of the pink showing through, you can always touch that up later. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the roof together, because that is the only part that really gapes when you put them together. So I just hot glue the entire roof line. And then I'm just going to go back and touch up any places where the paint may have come off. And then I wanted to display them on something a little bit more substantial than just a little plastic house, even though it is super cute. So I decided to use the little bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree. I love these. These are one of my favorite things to craft with. I always pick up a stack when I see them at Dollar Tree because they're great for crafting and they're the perfect size for a little lawn for our haunted house. Now, the first step, I kind of wanted them to look gray and creepy to kind of match with the house. So I'm just using that elephant gray chalk paint and giving them a wash of gray first to kind of cover up all of that tan color that we had going on. And then we can do a spooky little haunted house yard with those. I'm also going to go ahead and do the edges just to kind of make that all blend in. And then once I get all of the paint dry on these, we can attach our little haunted houses to them. I am just going to hot glue mine in place by putting some hot glue on each half. A good amount to make sure it's nice and strong. And sitting it, I kind of centered mine on the little cutting boards. And instead of just a lightweight plastic house now, you actually have a substantial piece. That is not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to do the same thing here with haunted house number 2. And then I want to decorate them, but I want to decorate them kind of complementary. I did one of these on each one of my bookcases, so I want them to be kind of mirror images of each other. Now, for a perfect creepy little haunted house yard, I am using Spanish moss from Dollar Tree, just attaching that to our cutting board with hot glue and kind of filling it in, making it look like dead grass. Once I get our first little yard done, we're going to repeat those steps here on our second haunted house as well. And then we're going to add some little Halloween touches. I was trying to find like miniature items that I could use to decorate the house or the property. And it's kind of hard to find things on that scale, but I did find a few things at Dollar Tree. As you can see, I trimmed those up to make them look a little bit better there in the end. And I decided to use some of the little wooden stickers from the Dollar Tree. So this one has like a couple different things on it. It has these little bats that are unfinished. So I thought it would look cute to stain those with a little antique wax by Waverly. And I kind of like the unfinished ones better than the glitter ones. But I'm going to glue one little wood bat here on the roof of this house. Change my mind. I decided to do it right there on the corner of the roof. And then I'm just using hot glue right on the sticker. We're going to put another one over here. I think that looks cute. And then we are going to do the same thing on the other side, just a mirror image. So I'm going to do it on this corner. And then on the mirror image here on the other side. And I was just trying to find things small enough. There's also like a black spider on there as well, which I think is going to go nicely with it. So I'm going to hot glue like a black spider just on the front of the house like that. Again, doing complementary. And then I wanted some little skulls, and the only skulls I could find were on the little Halloween bows from Dollar Tree. So I just pulled those off. And another fun little miniature touch. And this is how they turned out. I think they're super creepy and cute for Halloween. A haunted house. If you had like an old plastic dollhouse that was larger, you could really go to town with a DIY like this. And I saw like one of those 4-foot ones somebody was giving away on their curb the other day, and I really had to stop myself from getting it.
And you know, if you have one of those like little plastic, like little Tykes houses or something like that, you could do the same thing. If you were not using it, you could make something really fun. But I love crafting with these little Dollar Tree playhouses. Lots of fun for kids and for adults too. This is how they look together. I'm glad I made 2 of them. They look great as a set.
Now for the next DIY, I found this cute little trick-or-treat burlap flag at the Dollar Tree. And I thought we could make it into a really cute, easy little Halloween pillow decor. Just a little tiny accent pillow. So that is what we're going to do. I'm trying to get a straight cut here on the top and a straight cut on the bottom to kind of cut off that little pivot portion that comes down. I just want a little rectangle to make a really cute no-sew Halloween pillow. I found this great Halloween fabric at Dollar Tree. It's a bright orange with little black cats all over, so I thought that would make the perfect background for our little no-sew pillow. So I'm just going to lay that right on top and cut down the back to size. I love making my own little decorative pillows. This one's a really small pillow, but I'm going to put it like on my little coat rack for Halloween, my little hall tree. I was trying to think of the word for it. That has a bench just for a little dose of Halloween. Doesn't have to be a big pillow. And I'm just going to hot glue the ends on here. I'm not going to worry about sewing, nothing like that. Just a little bit of hot glue. We're going to do 3 sides. And then that's a good point to start stuffing your pillow. I always like to save my old bed pillows and stuff like that when we replace them because I don't really like buying the polyfill. I think it's overpriced. And so that's what we're just going to use to fill this up. I'm just trimming down the excess fabric to give it that nice clean edge, no fraying or anything because it's all hot glued down already. And then just taking that polyfill from the old pillow to stuff this. You want it to be full, but you don't want it to be so full that you're not going to be able to glue this other end shut very well. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to do a bead of hot glue on the inside. The burlap was a little easier to glue. And try to keep that as straight as possible, gluing that Halloween fabric to the back. I really like that Halloween fabric. I think that's super cute. And then just trimming up any fraying that may have happened on that before I got it glued down. Super easy, 5-minute Halloween pillow. Cute, and it provides a little dose of Halloween there to my haul tree. And super easy to make as well. Cute little jack-o'-lanterns, very traditional Halloween colors. For the next DIY, we are going to use these little plastic hands from the Dollar Tree. I made sure that I got like 4 right hands and 4 left hands. I don't know if it really matters. And I had some antique white paint that we're going to use for this. I want the same kind of technique though. So I am going to mix this acrylic paint with baking powder again so I can get that same kind of ceramic texture. I really like that for a skeleton because I don't really like the way that these are colored. I think they look better painted. I think they just look way more high end. So we're going to paint all 8 of our little hands and we're going to have to paint them front and back. And the reason that we need so many of these little skeleton hands is we're going to make a skeleton hand wreath. I've seen people make these. I've seen people make them like very cute, decorative for Halloween, but I wanted to make mine kind of a more beautiful skeleton decoration, kind of like what we just did with our little skull. See if we can make it look a little bit more high end and a little less cute. So a pretty skeleton wreath. So I went ahead and painted them all and flipped them all over. Since they're kind of a little bit curled, I wanted to make sure that both sides were painted to give it a more 3D effect if you were to look at it from the sides. And this seemed to work really well. So I did use a brush too to make sure I could get in all of the little cracks between the joints and the hands and paint all these little guys white. The paint worked really well. I really only needed 1 coat, and now I've lined them all up into a wreath shape. And I'm going to use one of these little wire wreath forms from the Dollar Tree and hot glue to start attaching it. I make sure I use a lot of hot glue, but I thought it was going to need more structure, so I decided to reinforce it with Dollar Tree rope. This is all going to be hidden on the back of the wreath. You won't be able to see the metal wreath form or the rope, but I think it really did need a little bit more attention. So that is why I went back with the Dollar Tree rope, hot gluing that to each one of the hands to make sure that this is going to stay together outside on my door for Halloween. And so I just went on the inside and the outside of that metal wreath form with that Dollar Tree rope, hot gluing that all down. I really think that helped tether it together. I decided 1 more row. I didn't want to take any chances since I was working with hot glue and this is going outside. So I glue 1 more row of the rope around to gather this together. Now, I told you I wanted to make this more decorative, so I have one of these little wreaths that I got at the Target dollar spot, and I'm just going to tie that to the front of our little skeleton hand wreath. So it's going to be very unexpected. You're going to have like a traditional wreath, but you're going to have all these little skeleton hands like curled behind it. And so you kind of have to look at it carefully to be like, is that a Halloween decoration? Oh, that's definitely a Halloween decoration. I went ahead and tied the bottom on too, just to kind of make sure this stayed center and in place. And that's really all there is to it, our little skeleton hand wreath. I thought this one was really fun and unexpected. And I really like crafting with those little skeleton hands. I think they're nice and creepy. What do you guys think about my take on the skeleton hand wreath?
And I think you could probably get about the same effect using some of the Dollar Tree lamb's ear to DIY a little wreath in front of your skeleton wreath. Now for the next DIY, I was doing 5-minute DIYs. This is another one of those DIYs where I use one of these little wood jack-o'-lanterns from the Dollar Tree to make something cute.
So I'm just using combination of my foam brush and my makeup sponge there and pumpkin, getting our little traditional jack-o'-lantern color. But I wanted to kind of do a contrasting face behind mine. So I'm going to use, this is just another little Dollar Tree sign, but it could be anything. I just wanted something that was going to fit behind it that we could make black for the traditional Halloween face. So I just peeled the paper off of this Halloween sign and went over the sign with some black ink, chalk paint. And I like to distress mine, so I'm going to distress mine all with ivory. I have a distressing addiction. I know. And then I'm going to paint the base of the little sign. We're leaving this one on and painting in the contrasting black ink color. And then we can just put the little black sign that we painted behind the jack-o'-lantern to give it its little jack-o'-lantern face. Just going to give it some more personality, super fun to make, super easy. This would be a great project for the littles as well, if they want to help you out. And I just finished mine off with a little twine, tied in a little bow around the little pumpkin stem, and a quick, easy little 5-minute Halloween DIY, a little jack-o'-lantern.
I love like the raw wood items like this from the Dollar Tree. They're so cute to DIY and make your own. And, you know, you don't even have to do traditional colors on this. You can kind of paint him any color that you want. Really easy to do. Again, great kid project if you want to do a project together.
Okay, we're going to make our own custom Halloween doormat using one of these Stylewell 18 by 30 mats from Home Depot. They're about $14, $15. And the secret behind these little doormats is that you can do sublimation on them just perfectly. You don't have to do any surface prep or anything. So I'm just going to use my lint roller to clean this one up. And I have a large format printer, so I was able to do a pretty large image here. And I'm pretty sure I have this actual image that I can share with you. I'll try to find it and post it in the description below. I printed that out in reverse on my sublimation paper on my Epson printer that I have converted for sublimation. And I got my printer actually on Amazon. I think I have that linked in my Amazon shop below too. And I just use heat-proof tape to put my image directly on the rug, cover it in parchment paper, and we are going to go ahead and sublimate our own doormat. I wanted to show you how easy it was to do. So I did 400 degrees for 1 minute, which is my normal sublimation time. And then my easy press is only like, a 9x9. So I have to do it in mini steps, even though I had the large format. So I'm kind of trying to move it around with as little ghosting or shading in between the different pieces as I can. And you can kind of tell when your sublimation works because the color comes all the way through the paper, as you can see there. And that's one reason why you have to use the parchment paper to protect your iron or your easy press. And I just do one section at a time. Now, this doormat's a really nice quality. The rubber's nice and thick. I didn't really have to worry too much about melting anything here. And I just keep repeating that 400 degrees for 1 minute until we get the entire image sublimated on. I know a lot of you are not set up for sublimation, but I kind of wanted to show you this to show you how easy and fun it can be to make your own products. I personalized mine with our last name on there for our doormat, but I believe the image that I saved was a plain one where you could do your own thing. So, first time I ever sublimated on this one, and I was pleasantly surprised. The only problem is I didn't like the black shading that I got on that top part of the haunted house and the very bottom part. So I decided to use a little spray polyacrylic to try to brighten it up. And you can see it really brings the color out. I love the Welcome Foolish Mortals and this fun image of this haunted house I found as well. So I probably shouldn't have went all the way to the bottom with my image, but I'm going to show you how I touch it up super easy. I just use a black paint pen, and we're going to kind of fill in that area where I got a little bit of ghosting there at the bottom. Just kind of spreading that out with the paper towel to make that look a little bit blacker. And any of the areas that I think didn't quite get black enough, I'm just going to touch that up with black paint pen as well until I'm happy with it. But I think I'll do this again. I noticed that Home Depot still has these, and it's definitely a lot easier than trying to do sublimation on the core doormats because, again, this is the perfect polyester material. It is perfect. I like it much better now. I'm going to spray it with another coat of polyacrylic to bring out all the bright colors. And this is how it looks on my black and white checked rug outside my door for Halloween. I think it's so cute, and I really love that Welcome Foolish Mortals message. So a fun sublimation DIY to make your very own custom doormat.
And it worked so much better using the right one. I've tried it on the core doormats, and you usually have to end up painting them as well.
Now for the next DIY, you know how Dollar Tree has like little pieces of carpet sometimes? My Dollar Tree had white. I saw this and I thought, oh my gosh, I could make like my own like ghost rug for the bathroom with a Dollar Tree piece of rug. So I had a little wooden ghost from the Dollar Tree that I'm just using for a template, but you can kind of make your ghost any shape you want if you're able to find a white rug as well. But I'm just trying to sketch that out with a Sharpie on the back of the rug so that we can cut this down and do a little custom rug. So I wanted to have like a little funny tail, a little ghost tail like that one did. And I'm trying to keep it as even as I can. My little arms aren't quite so even, but I'll show you how I fix that. Now to cut it out, I just use a razor blade, and I'm just going through the back. I'm cutting along right where I drew on it. And then I'm also using a pair of scissors to try to remove some of that excess. You're going to want to get through all of the different fibers. And this rug was fairly thick, but I think this was a fun find and a fun idea to do with it to make your own little custom Halloween rug. I don't think this would definitely hold up outdoors, but it definitely worked well for an indoor rug. And I just keep going around cutting that down. Like I said, I didn't get the arms too even, but I will even that up in a little bit because it did bother me a little bit. But again, a ghost is pretty subjective, so you can kind of make your shaped any way you want it to. I just wanted like the head, the arms, and like the little creepy tail. Now, when you cut that, like it's almost like a shag rug, it's going to be a little messy. So I'm just going to clean up any of the excess fibers around the edges. And I will finish that up to kind of make it look more like a finished rug here in a minute as well. And this is me trying to fix my uneven arms. I'm just going to cut this other one down to be a little smaller too. And then we can finish decorating this. I thought we could frame it out and make it look coastal with a rope border. And then I also wanted to do like eyes and a mouth. And I decided to use little stencil daubers from the Dollar Tree and some brown acrylic. I chose brown to match my rope, but you could always do black as well. And I think those made the perfect little eyes and mouth with the different sizes for that. And then I'm going to hot glue Dollar Tree rope all along the outside perimeter of the little ghost rug. And this gave, my cut edge a really finished look. It also gave it a little bit of a coastal vibe, which made it turn out really cute. This is a really fun DIY. I think this is the first time I ever really constructed my own rug. I've decorated rugs before, but I think this is the first time I built one, and I think it's really a fun idea. So I think he's looking pretty good. I'm just going to clean up any of the excess hot glue and make sure he looks perfect and touch up his paint a little bit because it wasn't quite as solid as I wanted. And I think that looks pretty good. So here he is, our little Dollar Tree ghost rug. I think this is a really fun idea for a bathroom. We used it in our guest bathroom for Halloween, and I think it's really fun. It was definitely fun to put together.
I love him. He's actually held up pretty well.
Now, these are going to be super simple. I picked up just a Target Dollar Spot sign. That's just going to be a background sign. And a jack-o'-lantern wood sign from Dollar Tree. What my goal was on these was to make some really simple 5-minute Halloween decorations. If you're short on time, but you want to just decorate Halloween decorations, maybe just for even a day for the trick-or-treaters or whatever, if you don't normally display Halloween decorations. I know a lot of you guys don't. And so I want to do some really quick ideas, show you how easy it is to DIY with these. So I just filled in the top hole portions with this spackle, and I'm just using some pumpkin chalk paint to go over a little jack-o'-lantern. We're going to go really traditional with these DIYs and really fast. So a little $1.25 sign. I got that little sign from the Dollar Tree on clearance. So it was like only a dollar or two. And then we're just going to do the little black eyes, triangles, and the nose and the mouth with just ink black chalk paint. And you can like leave it like this or distress it. I'm going to distress mine just because I have a coastal farmhouse vibe in my house and I like that a little bit better. And as you can see, even though I was trying to be super careful with a brush to not get black against my jack-o'-lantern, I can't say that I did a very good job. So I'm going to have to go back and kind of touch up those areas. Sometimes I struggle with Dollar Tree signs with the little raised pieces like this. Painting them can be a little bit hard. But this is chalk paint, so I'm going to try my best to get it covered up here, and then we can distress this little guy to make him look a little bit better. So to distress him, I'm just going to use some ivory chalk paint and working in one direction, distress him all over. This would be a really fun DIY to get the little ones involved in, because besides painting the face, otherwise it was super easy to put together. I'm just going to layer my signs. I like to do that a lot with Dollar Tree signs. It's going to make them sturdier, thicker, and make them look less cheap. And just attach our little jack-o'-lantern to the front. And 5 minutes later, we have a quick, easy little Halloween decoration. Just a super cute traditional little jack-o'-lantern with a little distressing just for fun. Now, if you had more time, you can always take it up a notch by doing something fun with the pumpkin stem or something like that.
But, you know, a classic jack-o'-lantern always goes with Halloween decor.
I'm going to use 2 of these little wooden haunted houses from the Dollar Tree. We're going to put them together and make it an actual haunted house. So I'm going to use Dollar Tree wood rulers for the side and roof line for the house. So it's just a matter of putting it all together. So to start with, I'm going to start cutting down the rulers for side panels of our house like that, 1 ruler for each side. I hot glue the 2 bases together. That's how thick our house is going to be, not too thick. That means the ruler is going to be the perfect size. I hot glue the little ruler pieces with like the little notch side pointing toward the inside so you don't really see that. And the only tricky part on this was the roof line. As you can tell, the roof line is kind of all over the place. So we're going to try to make this as easy as we can by doing an initial roof here first, cutting 2 pieces of ruler down, overlapping them into a point, and then building off of those to make it go higher up for the actual roof line of the house. So the pieces are going to get smaller here, and we're just going to start pairing them all together. I'm just cutting them one piece at a time with my saw to kind of finish up this roof line. And I'm really glad that I decided to finish up the walls and the roof because it really made it look like a more solid piece instead of the two little flat haunted house signs. So it does get a little tricky up here though with all the different pieces, but you can make it work. If you have any, cracks like that, you can always fill that up with hot glue or a spackle in the end to make it look a little bit better. But we're going to do the best that we can do, and we're almost done with this crazy roof line. So we've got that all cut and glued into place, just going back and trying to clean it up a little bit, all the excess hot glue that we have, and we're ready to paint. So I wanted this to be like a black and white theme Halloween DIY. So we're doing like an ivory coat of chalk paint and going all over, trying to fill up any of the gaps in my crazy roof line with the paint if I need to. You can always go back with spackle too if you have any kind of gaps, but I did a pretty good job of getting pretty close cuts here. So we're just going to go ahead and paint all of it that same color. I wanted to do kind of a farmhouse haunted house vibe on this. And so that is how we're going to decorate this cute little guy. So I want it to be like kind of a two-sided piece. So we're going to paint it all over the front, the back, the sides, and even the roof. We're going to do something kind of fun here with the roof as well. I did give mine a light distress with a little agave just to give it a tiny bit of a little tinge of blue. You could always distress it with gray or with antique wax. I just kind of want it. I like that distressed feel, so I always try to distress my pieces a little bit. I decided to do like the windows and the doors with the antique wax by Waverly to kind of make them look a little bit creepier. And I just kind of play around with it until I'm happy with it. Now for the roof, I thought it'd be really fun to give it like a metal tin roof. So I'm going to use one of these like little disposable cookie sheets from the Dollar Tree and cut down the panel that's inside. It's going to give me this really thin metal piece that's super easy to cut whatever size I need. And I'm just going to cut a strip the same width as the roof line, and we can make little metal roofs. So I cut a piece for this part of the roof, hot gluing that on. And I'm really glad I decided to give it this detail. I think it looks really cute. I love crafting with these little cookie sheets. Now, I did have the same problem that I had before, is that it has this crazy roof line. So lots of pieces involved here to get all of the roof. But I just keep cutting that same strip down into smaller pieces that are going to fill up all the grooves. This part in the middle, probably the trickiest, but I was able to get it to work. And I think that gave it a really fun feel. Now for the base of it, I'm going to use one of the bamboo cutting boards again. This time I'm going to cover it in burlap. So this is a burlap roll that I got at Walmart, but you could always use Dollar Tree burlap. And this was a nice 6-inch roll, about the same size as my cutting board. So I'm just going to hot glue that overlapping to the bottom to give me a nice burlap base for our little house. Now, I do want to age the roof of this, kind of like I aged the house. I want it to look old and rusty since it's metal. So I'm going to do that with Antique Wax by Waverly, distressing all over, just kind of like pouncing rust on there, wiping off any excess with a paper towel. And we can attach our little haunted house by gluing it to our burlap. The burlap has the holes in it, so it's going to glue down straight to the board underneath. And then let's decorate it like a farmhouse. I started with some hay bales from Dollar Tree, and then I was also going to use some Dollar Tree pumpkins, but then I realized that they were very kind of more ivory than I used before. So before I get any further, I'm just going to distress my haunted house with a little ivory too, just to kind of bring that color in, because we're going to use that a little bit here in our haunted house yard. And then I can go back and do my distressing with Antique Wax by Waverly over that. But that was just me being, this wasn't the exact color that I wanted. So before I get any further with decorating the yard for a haunted house, I thought I better touch it up. So again, we're going to do the little mini hay bales. They're perfect. And just there on the ledge for the house, we can do one on each side of the door for the little haunted farmhouse. I also thought I really wanted the windows to pop a little bit more, so I decided to kind of outline them awkwardly with a black paint pen there to give them that black and white feel since we did the metal roof. And I thought that provided a little fun touch. And you can never distress too much. Now to decorate it with pumpkins, I decided to use these like ivory pumpkins from Dollar Tree. That's why I added a little bit more of that yellow color ivory to our house because these definitely kind of have that tinge. I wanted them to match a little bit better. So we're just going to hot glue these around. I just took them off the little pins on the bottom and just piled them around because I really want it to look like a like pumpkin patch, kind of haunted farmhouse. And then some of them we can make into jack-o'-lanterns with just a black magic marker. Super simple little jack-o'-lantern faces on the front of these. And we can use these to decorate the front of our little haunted farmhouse. Nothing crazy, just some triangles. And I do that one on each side. Then for some more creepy things, I thought we could use some of these little Halloween rings from Dollar Tree to give us a little tiny miniature black bat here next to one of the windows on our little haunted farmhouse. This is something that you can find for miniature since it is so hard to find little tiny miniature items like this from the Dollar Tree. And they also have like, skulls. I'm not a big fan of the orange spider rings. I don't think those look super creepy. But again, I was trying to go with like the black and white theme. Now, Target has some stuff too. I found like some little tiny rats there that I thought we could use. And then I also wanted there to be a ghost like looking out the window. So I used one of these little Dollar Tree ghost stickers and I hot glued it inside the house. So it was actually peeking out one of the windows, which I thought was a really fun little touch. And then we can have like a little black bat scurrying, some little black creepy creatures all around our little haunted house. Then I wanted it to look creepy. I thought we could do a little beware sign. So I'm going to make my own just out of a popsicle stick. And you can cut that kind of crazy and ragged like an old sign would be. And super easy to cut those down to size. Now I'm using my black paint pen to add some more black details just by edging out the side and roof line of the house as well. Wanted to bring in a little bit more black. And then we are just going to use a black Sharpie and write beware on the little sign, all creepy. And we can just attach that to the front of the house with a little bit of hot glue. Lots of little touches here. I finish it up with a little black Sharpie here along the exposed cutting board. And that is the last step here at our little haunted farmhouse. I think it's so cute. I love the little details. I think my favorite thing is like the little ghost like peeking out of the window and maybe the little hay bales. Super cute. A little tricky with that roof line, but I think we did a pretty good job. Okay, let's go to the big scale apothecary. I picked up this giant wood sign at Goodwill. And we're going to just remake it. I wanted to do a great big sign for the top of my apothecary. So we're going to start with some ink, chalk paint by Waverly, and cover up, job done. This is kind of an odd sign. I wonder what this sign was for. I don't really get it. But this black or ink chalk paint is super thick, so it's going to be able to help me cover up all of that red and white and stuff going on underneath of it. And we're going to do a hand-painted sign. I wanted to use my Cricut to make a stencil, and I'll be sure to include the fonts that I used below. I don't believe I saved them, but I do have a record of all the fonts that I used. And then we're going to kind of give it a Hocus Pocus theme on this sign. And so I went online and found a silhouette of the three like witches from Hocus Pocus and kind of used that. But again, it's probably like, I don't know if you can buy that. I kind of made my own, so I'll show you what I mean. So this is, I'm going to do it in 3 parts because it's such a large sign. I'm going to have it say potions, tonic, and elixirs. And that was the hair for the 3 witches. This is the apothecary sign. And Then I'm going to have it say Sanderson Sisters is going to be the name of the apothecary to give it that, you know, a vibe, even with the right year of established 1693. And then we're just going to piece all of the stencil vinyl together to do a giant hand-painted sign for the top of my apothecary. Now, I get the stencil vinyl on Amazon. I have that linked in my shop below, as well as this wonderful paper transfer paper. Absolutely love it. You can even reuse it if you need to. And it does great. Even if you've just painted a sign like this, doesn't damage any paint, gets all of our stencil down. And then I'm just going to fill in any holes with some painter's tape. And I can just paint the giant sign all at once. And I'm going to be decorating my entire bookcase or cabinet as an apothecary. So I'm going to sit this on the very top. So for all the letters, everything on there, I'm just going over it with some ivory chalk paint by Waverly. And you can tell the white on the black didn't have great coverage. And so after I dried it, I'm going to go over it with another coat to make sure that ivory on black is really going to pop. Did not mean to do that, but crisis averted. And if I have any craziness going on here at the end, I can always go back and touch it up with some black paint. So painted, dried, time to remove the stencils and seal what we're dealing with. And again, I did have to really kind of piece it together in 3 pieces just because this sign was so big. And I think it turned out so cute. Now, getting all the stencils off, you kind of want to maybe do it piece by piece so you don't cause any damage. And then whenever you do a hand-painted sign with Cricut stencils, then you just have to go back in and, of course, weed out all the little pieces of stencil that's still left on there. And as you can see, I did have a little bleeding, especially where my letter came up there, but that's okay. Again, we can always just touch it up. And I always like stuff looking distressed anyway. But this is how I designed it. So Sanderson Sisters, apothecary, established 1693, potions, tonics, elixirs, and then the little silhouette of our 3 favorite witches from Hocus Pocus. You'll have to let me know in the comments below what your favorite Halloween movie is. I think for sure mine is Hocus Pocus. I absolutely love this movie. So I wanted to give a few touches, just a few of touches of Hocus Pocus in the large scale apothecary cabinet. And I'm going to just go ahead and put this up here right on top. And I have this cabinet in my dining room area, so really fun to decorate seasonally. Next up, we're going to make a banner out of one of these little pick your poison signs from Dollar Tree. I just took all the little potion bottles off of it, and I'm going to string some twine on them so that I can make my own little custom creepy banner for an apothecary Halloween. I thought we could also use some of the little skulls from the Dollar Tree in there as well. That way we can have 5 things hanging from it. And we're just going to attach all of that to some twine. So I used a needle on the end of the twine, a large needle, so that I could go right through the skull. Kind of creepy, right? And string it just like that, because otherwise I didn't really know how else to attach it. And I'm glad I did that. I did find cutting holes in it with scissors did work a little bit better. And then string those on, kind of tying knots on the ends to kind of keep them in place. And then we can go back and attach all the potion bottles to that as well. So I did another knot just to keep this skull in place, strung it on, knotted that one as well. And then we can do the 3 potion bottles, and I'm just going to tie those on so they will hang flat. And I originally made this for the top of my apothecary cabinet, but then I had so much stuff going on up there, I ended up moving it to the bottom of my apothecary cabinet, and you'll see that here in a minute. Now, I love this creepy cloth. This is the black version. I have little hooks on the top of my cabinet because I use a lot of banners and stuff like that to decorate this seasonally, some little command hooks. And we are just going to take that creepy cloth and kind of do it uneven like that so it looks nice and creepy. hanging down, but kind of off center. And then I went back and hung that little pennant banner that we just made. And again, you'll see in a little bit, I do end up moving that down just because I already had a lot of decoration going on here at the top of my cabinet. Now I wanted to decorate little paper bats. I got these at Dollar Spot for $1, but I'm pretty sure I saw these at Dollar Tree today. And I want to do like little silhouettes of black bats. In the background, my cabinet's like ivory. So I think that's going to give it a nice little Halloween touch for all of my potions and apothecary. Now these actually came with like double-sided tape to help stick them up. So it came with them, so I might as well use them. So I'm just going to stick these to the back of my cabinet. And this is like a 3-shelf cabinet. It's got like a drawer and cabinet below it. So it's not super big, but big enough. Next up, I found this great little shelf for $5 at the Target Dollar Spot. And it was white. And I wanted it to be black to go with my apothecary feel. So that's okay. I'll just give it a coat of black paint. But you can use whatever you have. I thought this would be really good just because it's got all the little shelves. And painting it is easier than probably building it. But it's got lots of room for me to house potions for our potion cabinet. So a lot of painting. I just have to go pretty much all the areas you're going to be able to see. So I have to go in and out. If you wanted to piece this together, you could probably do it with some Dollar Tree frames. And just kind of do like a pattern similar to that. Probably get about the same effect. But if you can find it for $5, I'd buy it. Now this Hocus Pocus sign is something that I already had. I got this at Publix, our grocery store here in Florida. Sometimes they have really cute Halloween stuff, and it really caught my eye. And so I actually bought this pre-made. And I'm just going to use a little bracket so that I can attach it to the top of my little cabinet that I just made, just to give it a little fun Halloween feel. I'm going to paint that bracket black so it doesn't really stand out, but this did a great job of keeping this in place, just so otherwise it was probably going to fall off and break all of my potion bottles. But I painted everything except for the back on that. I guess I probably could have painted the back on that too. But good enough. So there's our little Hocus Pocus cabinet. And we're going to place that right up here. You'll see today, I'm going to be rearranging this a lot, taking you through the whole process today. So it might not stay there is what I'm saying. I also got some of these little black risers from the Target Dollar Spot. And I thought we could use those for some things. Now, these are the little like graduated cylinders, like little mad scientist kind of jars that I got at the Target Dollar Spot as well. You could pretty much use anything, but I love the fact that these are Halloween colors, orange, black, purple, and they look very mad scientist. So I thought those would be cute. I also got these little potion bottles at Target Dollar Spot, and the last cylinders and these 4 that I'm going to show you right here. I did not get these this year at Target Dollar Spot. Every year they seem to kind of change them up a little bit, but I liked the colors. I didn't really like that the labels were too clean. So again, I distressed them with some Antique Wax by Waverly to make them look aged. But I like the fact that they're colored because then you don't really have to find things to fill them with. They're already really colorful and fun. Now, these are the Dollar Tree version. So you can see they're clear. They've got like the black and white. Again, I want to age them. And I just do that by distressing them all with some Antique Wax by Waverly. And just kind of wiping off the excess. But if you want to distress the whole bottle like we did earlier on the tier tray, you totally can. And those are clear, so I'll have to get a little bit more creative when I go to kind of fill these up with potions for the tier tray. Super cute. I also got like a little eye of newt for $1 from the Target Dollar Spot that we're going to use on this tier tray. It's got little eyeballs in there, which is super fun. And I distressed that with some Antique Wax by Waverly as well. So you can see kind of some of the things from Dollar Spot, some of the things from Dollar Tree, what they have. And then I'm just going to start kind of arranging these on here, see what will fit where. That one will fit, but only if I take the cork off. And lots of different shapes and sizes, which is great with that little cabinet. Now the clear ones I want to add some color to. So what I did is I filled them up with water and then I just used a little food coloring. That's another way that you can color your potions, if your bottles are not already colored, to make them look super fun for an apothecary. I'm going to add a little bit more color to that one. It was a little blue. I like that better. Creepier spider venom and toxic brain juice. And then the colored one from the Target dollar spot, unfiltered poison. I like it better with something in there, so I just filled mine up with water. Okay, so if you can't find any of those potion bottles, you can totally make your own. These are the little bottles they have every year that say like sand for my favorite beach or whatever like that. And I picked these up from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to show you how you can just use these to make your own little potion bottles. So I'm just taking all the packaging off. I thought I'd be slick and remove the paint with some fingernail polish remover, which works sometimes from Dollar Tree, but not this time. But that's okay. We will persevere. I'm going to have some free printables, and I will post all the links to these in the description below this video, where some nice people have shared their free printables. And then since these are paper, I just printed them out on regular paper. We can attach those to the bottle, but I was afraid you'd be able to see the words through it. So I went over the words first with a little ivory chalk paint to kind of mask that. And so that'll be kind of hidden behind the little potions. So I like them. I think they're super cute. Instead of burning the edges of these, I just went around them with a black Sharpie. That way, when I cut them out, they'll still kind of have like a black distressed edge, but I don't have to worry about burning this. This is regular paper. It might burn a little bit harder. I was able to find all of the printables that I used on this. And again, I will put these all in the description below so you can DIY your own little potion bottles from scratch like this. And again, I'm just going to use Mod Podge. I'm just going to glue that right on top of the area that we painted. Perfect mask. And you never know that that was not a potion bottle before. And these have little cork tops too, so they're perfect for potion bottles. Gonna do my second bottle here, a little snake venom. And I like the fact that they designed these to already look kind of old and weathered. I don't have to stain them or anything. So I'm just going to seal those down with some more Mod Podge to seal up those little potion bottles. So I wanted to show you, you know, Target dollar spot, Dollar Tree potion bottles. And if you wanted to make your own, again, I filled mine with water and then I'm just going to color them with some food coloring from the Dollar Tree. Pop the corks back on, and we have some more potions to decorate this giant apothecary. Super cute. I think I like the printable labels better than the store-bought ones. And then again, we're going to do some minis. I'm going to mix it up this time. I'm going to use some of the little ones with the corks and some of these ones with like the little screw-on lids, both from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And we're going to do some little mini ones. So I have these little printables on a tiny scale. I printed them out super tiny so I could put them on these super tiny little potions. And just cutting those out, and then I can just Mod Podge those onto the labels. So on the tier tray earlier, I didn't bother labeling these little ones, but on this one I did, so you can kind of see how they look labeled. So if you're going to do like the little tiny apothecary jars too, you can, or potion jars, you can totally label yours. They do look super cute. Now I wanted something sparkly, and I found these like little confetti tubes from Crafter Square. Now don't do what I did because I spilt them everywhere, but they're super tiny, and so they did a great job of filling these little jars, and it's going to make it nice and colorful because I'm kind of going for a more colorful approach on this apothecary with all my different potions and all those different colored bottles and stuff like that. And this one comes in like pink, blue, green. So a great tiny thing from the Dollar Tree that you can use to fill these little tiny bottles up. And again, put something down first if you're going to work with these. I guess you could use glitter too. It would give you that sparkly effect, but that is how mine turned out. They're super cute. I love these. So we're going to just kind of start piling these around in my little mini apothecary cabinet here, kind of wherever they'll fit. Now, this is a really creepy little carnivore plant that I got at Target. My son loves those things, and I thought that'd be a fun little touch to add to it. Next up, we're going to do the little Hocus Pocus potion book. So I picked up a book from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to DIY it. So the first thing I wanted to do was to make it look fancy with like gold gilded pages. And so I'm going to use some gold acrylic paint that I cut at the Target dollar spot. And we are just going to paint all the edges of the pages gold to kind of give it a fun feel. And we're going to use a little plate rack from the Dollar Tree to open up our potion book so it is ready to be used. And I was able to find a design online that somebody had done to recreate the Hocus Pocus potion book. And I'm going to print that down to size. Now, the link is kind of a weird link. I had to be creative to get it to print, but I will include a link to it. I think my computer blocked it, but I was still able to print it out from the Pinterest link. Now, one thing about painting my pages gold is that they were kind of stuck together, but I got it open and looking good, about halfway open. The first thing I'm going to do is just use some ivory paint to go over all of the words that were on those pages. That way that won't come through because I just printed out the life potion and the other page just on regular paper. So it's going to be thin when I go to attach that to our little potion book. So I cut these down just to size. They have little fun burnt edges already in the design. And I might do some more digging to see if I can find a better link for these, but if I can't, I'll just use the same one that I used, and it turned out pretty cute. So kind of a little trickier to cut out because you have to cut around like the burning effect on those, but I like that because it gives it a really fun feel. And this is like the little potion book from the movie Hocus Pocus. So perfect and perfect size. So we're just going to Mod Podge that down to the sheet of the book. And every time I DIY a Dollar Tree book, I always get somebody that likes the author in the comments below chastising me for destroying a book. And I'm like, okay, it was at the Dollar Tree. I don't really feel that bad about it. I'm sorry. And so I'm going to Mod Podge this page down as well. And I want it to lay open, so I'm kind of like trying to, bend it, make it stay open, but it will have the little plate tray that's going to keep it open, so not super important. And you don't have to do the back or the cover of it at all because you're not going to be able to see it. So we're going to display that right here. Little cat transformation too. And our little potion book. And you'll see I'll rearrange lots of stuff on this cabinet as we go. Now, next up, I bought 6 of these little boxes with the drawers from Dollar Tree, and we're going to make our DIY apothecary cabinet. This was so cute. I love it. I use this every year. It's so cool how it turned out. So I used wood glue. You could always use hot glue too. And I'm gluing 2 together at a time. And as you can tell, Dollar Tree squares are not always even, so make sure they are before you glue them. And then I use the little Dollar Tree clamps as well to help that glue dry. And then we're going to go back and glue all of these pieces together. My wood glue like totally clogged up on me, but we're going to persevere. So we glued the 2, 2, 2. So we're going to do a total of 6. We're going to do the drawers too, make it a full apothecary cabinet. And now we have all 6 of them glued together and clamped. It's going to be nice and strong because we used wood glue. And then I'm going to use these giant popsicle sticks to make little braces for the back to make sure that this thing stays together and it is super sturdy. So I'm going to do a total of 3 of the popsicle sticks. And I use a combination of wood glue and hot glue to help keep that all together. wanted a nice, strong apothecary cabinet where you could take the drawers in and out. Nothing's going to be falling apart. So you'll need a total of 6 of these if you want to do this size. Now, it doesn't matter what the cutout is. You're going to put that part on the back so nobody's going to see it. Now comes the fun part, staining everything with some Antique Wax by Waverly. I'm just going to go over any of the areas that you might see. So if the drawer was pulled out slightly, you're going to be able to see the sides. So I went ahead and did those as well. You can always do every surface if you wanted to. And as you can see, I am just making a mess, but wiping off the excess Antique Wax by Waverly with a paper towel and just getting that medium wood stain on all of these. I guess you could always paint it too, but I really like the look of the stained wood. I think it really added a lot of character to this apothecary cabinet. So we've got it all put together. We might as well start staining the apothecary cabinet as well. And we're just going over all of the edges and the back as well, just to make it look more finished. And I'm glad that I braced it. I think it made it super strong. Again, just because all those boxes aren't entirely square. But I think that it's had enough time to set up. I'm also going to stain just the very front there where you can see it. But I'm not going to worry about the inside of the box. You won't be able to see in there. And then it's just a matter of popping all our drawers in there. Again, do the shape to the back so that you won't see that even if it is slightly open. And then I'll include a link to these printables that I used to decorate the little drawers. They're super cute. I cut down a bunch of them. I'm going to pick out some of my favorites. And we're actually going to put some things in these apothecary drawers too to make them look like the things on the label. So that's what they look like if you just cut them out into a rectangular shape. But I thought it would look even cooler if you cut out like the intricate shape. It makes it look way fancier. So I went back and cut all of mine down to this great little outline that's on this free printable. I'm using free printables from a lot of different websites. Otherwise, I'd shout them out. But I will definitely include a link to all of them below. You can thank them for these wonderful free printables. They turned out so cute. And then it's just a matter of Mod Podging these all down. We've got a little bit of everything. I wanted some variety. Got some deadly nightshades, some poison hemlock. Super fun little ideas for an apothecary cabinet. And you could do this as small or as large as you wanted. Turned out so cute, and I had so much fun putting this little apothecary cabinet together. Definitely worth it. And then I just took some pieces from some old plants from the Dollar Tree and Dollar Spot or wherever. And I'm just going to kind of have them hanging out of the drawers or have the drawers partially open with those kind of peeking out to kind of make it look like the actual items are in the little cabinet. Look how cute that is. I think it's so cute. You could do it even bigger. Do like a 9-count one. That would be really fun. And now let's start decorating the cabinet a little bit. I have a skull from the Dollar Tree, and I have a little black rat here from the Target Dollar Spot. I cut that. That could be scurrying. A little potions, little box book from Dollar Tree as well. I thought we could put that on top of the apothecary cabinet to give it a little bit more height. Loving the potion book. And I'm going to use some more of the creepy cloth. So again, the creepy cloth in black. I thought we could use that to decorate the shelf, make it look even creepier. So we're just going to open this one up and kind of rearrange things here so that can actually be underneath the items. And I think that was another fun touch. So this is the second shelf that we're decorating here. And putting everything back once I got like the little black creepy cloth in place. Hope you guys can see okay. I was trying not to block the camera when I was filming this. And then for the bottom, I found this great little witch cauldron from the Target Dollar Spot for $5. Again, I did not get that this year. And at first I thought I would just fill it with potion bottles, but you'll see I'll do a lot of rearranging. But 3 of those fit nicely in there. I also found this little Lazy Susan black tier tray kind of thing for $5 at Dollar Spot as well. And I thought that'd be a great place to have like little odds and end things in jars. So that's what we're going to do next. Dollar Tree bones in a Dollar Tree fancy jar. I thought that would be cool for a little item to put on our little apothecary, like little Lazy Susan. Another Dollar Tree jar, and we're going to fill this one with eyeballs. No water or anything like that, just the plastic eyeballs, just for fun. I'm going to fill it all the way up, screw the lid back on. I really like the crisscross pattern of that one. That looks super fancy. And then this is a little plastic jar from Dollar Tree. And we're going to fill it up with some little palm bone, little plastic skeleton hands from the Dollar Tree. I wanted a variety of weird things that you might find in a Halloween apothecary for potions. So we're going to set that one right down here. They all have silver lids. This is the same one, same kind of jar that we used earlier for the squid ink. I love this one, and I'm going to fill it up with just some little bats that I got at Dollar Spot. Pop the lid back on, little plastic bat toys. And then we're kind of rearrange and try to get everything the way that I like it. Up next, I wanted some fingers, and these are little witch finger suckers from Dollar Tree in the candy aisle for Halloween, and I thought they'd make great fingers. So I don't really need them to have like the sucker stick on them though. I just need the little finger. So I'm going to try to cut that part off, but be careful because as you can see, I kind of cut one of my fingers and broke it. But I still have three little creepy like green fingers that I can like use for decoration here. Be super fun. If you could get something more realistic from Dollar Tree, it'd be even better. And then another Dollar Tree jar. This time I'm filling it up with the little plastic skulls from Dollar Tree and Spanish moss to make it look creepy. A little bit of Spanish moss, a few skulls, just kind of mixing that up for another little fun little decor for the apothecary cabinet. So I don't think that one's really going to fit, but I thought maybe we could rearrange things. So this is me adding a little Spanish moss to my hands because I think it makes it look creepier like it did with the skulls. And I'm going to do it with the bones too because, again, I think it looks creepier that way. So just kind of adding to and rearranging some of the ones that we just did because I like that idea better. And putting those back on the apothecary. We can also scatter out some of those extra bones and hands, kind of peeking out on the apothecary cabinet. And then I'm also going to use Spanish moss to make this little tray look super creepy. And just kind of scatter those about. I love using Spanish moss for Halloween decor. It always looks super creepy. Using one of those little black risers from the Dollar Spot, we can kind of prop that up a little bit. We can also add some like Dollar Tree spiders in the Spanish moss to give it a fun feel. That's when I started rearranging things to kind of see what I liked better. I'm going to move the graduated cylinders and stuff like that down here to see if I like those better here. They were on the very top of my cabinet. And just kind of rearrange things. This is another one of those little skeletons from the Dollar Tree, and I just popped it in one of the cloches as well. I had previously painted this cloche ivory for another DIY, and then a little skeleton bird I thought would be creepy. That's from Dollar Tree. I just painted that ivory. And it's kind of funny that I'm painting the cloche back black because, of course, that's how they come originally. And again, we used one of those for the little monster on the apothecary tier tray. But I'm just going to go ahead and paint this little guy black because I think it looks creepier that way. The Spanish moss and the Dollar Tree skeleton right on top. So if you can't find the bird cage, you could always use the little cloche like this from the Dollar Tree and get like the little same trapped skeleton feel. This is the one with his knees up, so he fits a little bit better in there. Maybe a skull over here. And we can kind of see how to make it creepy. I put a black furry tarantula back there in the back, also from Dollar Tree. And I'm just trying to make sure I like how everything is. A little skeleton rat from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to kind of pop that back there, kind of peeking out from behind. I think that looks creepy. That's when I decided to move my potion banner from the top to the bottom, just because I think it needed something down there. And here is another one of those little skeletons. This one's hiding his face. And I had moved the stuff down here down. So now I'm going to kind of rearrange this part. Put that little black witch's cauldron cabinet over here. Bring more our potions up on the very top shelf to see if I like that better. I also got a little bat candlestick holder that I can use for a riser. I also got that at the Target dollar spot. Just to kind of make them different heights and stuff like that. And then to make it look creepy, we're just going to take Spanish moss and kind of scatter it all over the shelf. And another little skeleton. This one's holding his mouth, which is perfect for potions, right? Like, you don't want to swallow it or you can't believe you swallowed it. And just kind of arrange it and make it look super creepy. I'm also going to scatter the Spanish moss all over the bottom shelf as well. Don't really need to do that much on the middle shelf because we use the creepy cloth to make it look creepy there. And I wanted all kinds of like curiosities and oddities on this cabinet, and I love how it turned out.
So let me show you how all of these Apothecary DIYs look together in my cabinet. I thought it would be easier just to show you it all put together. Definitely really fun Halloween DIYs. I love using like an apothecary theme. I've done it a lot on my channel. I've done an apothecary tier tray. I've also done an apothecary coffee bar, and this was my apothecary cabinet. So lots of fun ideas. You can really find potion bottles everywhere. Lots of stores carry them. And again, you can always make your own. They're really easy to make and they're really fun. My Halloween coffee bar video, I did a lot with like creepy looking Dollar Tree food. So those were really fun too because they actually had the items in the jar too to coordinate with the potion labels. So I did a lot of potions on the top shelf. And then down here I have my little carnivorous plants, my book. I absolutely love how the little apothecary cabinet turned out. I'm using that again this year in my decor. It goes great if you have any kind of witch decor or anything like that. You can just pop this little cabinet in there and it's really stayed together pretty well. But lots of fun little details. I love like the plants hanging out of the drawers too. And our little potion book was so easy to make. I've also made a spell book where I've DIY'd the cover of a book instead of doing the pages. But I like how both of them are. This looks really cool when it's open like that with the potions on there. And then down here we have our little like kind of mad scientist vibe jars. We have all of our little curiosities. The Spanish moss being thrown in there just kind of makes everything look creepy. Throw in a couple of skeletons and skulls and bones. Lots of little fun details. You can do any kind of bugs, the eyeballs and stuff like that from the Dollar Tree. But it was a really fun cabinet to make. I always kind of love doing like an entire cabinet of DIYs that all go together really well and look really fun. There's my little light up snake venom. That looks really cute too, added to that shelf.
Now for the next DIY, I wanted to decorate my little table outside my front door for Halloween. So I drew out a circle on the back of some Dollar Tree Halloween fabric. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to do a very easy custom little Halloween tablecloth to go under our next DIY. So the first thing I do is iron out our fabric because I just want a tablecloth that is the exact size as the little table I have by my door. And I don't want it flying around or anything like that with bad weather. So once I get it ironed, I kind of starched it to kind of make it stiffer. I'm just going to go around and cut out that circle shape. Super easy. And I was going for like a black and white theme. This has a little bit more colors in it, but I think it's going to go nice. The haunted house matches perfectly with that doormat that we just made. And then I spray this with polyacrylic to seal it up, make it more weatherproof, and kind of make it like more like a weatherproof fabric, if you will. So I do a couple of coats of that, let that dry, and then I'm just going to attach that to the table outside my front door just by kind of duct taping it down to the surface where you wouldn't really be able to see that. But so it's not going to fly around and go crazy in our weather we have here in Florida. So I just kind of, fold the duct tape onto itself and do one on all four sides. And I think that's going to work well. And then this is going to be the perfect base for this DIY. I picked up 2 of the little coffin signs from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a coffin. So they have a different message on each side, and I'm going to kind of go with that. And I'm going to use Dollar Tree craft wood for the sides. So you kind of have to play around with your sizes in the store to make sure you get the right size. This one's going to be perfect for the end. I don't have to cut it off very much, but I'm just going to cut 2 pieces down. So that's going to be both sides of the coffin because I want this to be like a 3D coffin. This is my fancy saw that I always talk about. I love this thing. I got this at Home Depot. It is a miter saw, but it also slides so you can do really large projects. Don't be afraid of your power tools. They can really save you a lot of time. So I didn't have to cut very much off those. I'm not going to miter it or anything like that. But I got a pretty good start. Now with some more of the craft wood, I'm going to measure down my little side pieces here, 1 for each side. And then I will also have to cut down a piece for the top and a piece for the bottom. And then we can start putting this together. I like the images that are already on it. And so we're just going to kind of go from that and do a really fun little black coffin. And this was a great DIY for outdoors on my table because it's not too large, but it is a nice creepy coffin factor, great for greeting trick-or-treaters. And then it's just a matter of putting it together. Once I have all my pieces cut down to size, I just hot glue onto that border that's already there. And try to get those like a 90-degree angle going all the way around our coffin and filling this out. I cut the bottom piece a little bit larger so that it would provide a nice base. And if you're fancy with your miter, you can get the right miter cut for this, but I wasn't going to begin to try to measure that angle. And filling out the top part. Once you get all the sides on here, then it's just a matter of attaching the other coffin to it. I wanted a different message on each side of my coffin if I could just turn it to get a different message. So I made sure that I had welcome on one side and the other trick-or-treat image on the other side. So I just hot glue my top piece on. And I fill up any of my gaps with just some hot glue. And then it's just a matter of painting. I'm going to do just a coat of black ink paint all along all 4 sides and the edges of my signs to give them that nice black coffin look. And this is great. Since this is 2-sided, you can make it welcome all the time. Halloween, you could turn it around for trick or treat. Just a really fun little coffin DIY. So this is how it turned out. I think I like the trick-or-treat side even better, just because the black and the white color scheme. But this is how it looks with that little tablecloth that we made outside my entryway. This is the welcome. And that Halloween fabric is super cute. And then you can also flip it around to get your trick-or-treat message on the other side, just by turning it around. And I think that was my favorite one. So just a fun Dollar Tree DIY you can do with those little coffin signs at the Dollar Tree if you needed some crafting inspiration.
And using that Halloween fabric for a tablecloth out there was so easy to do, and it totally stayed in place and kind of a custom size for my little table out there.
Now, the next DIY is a little pumpkin shape that I got from Target Dollar Spot for $3. Nice chunky sign. That's one thing I like about the Dollar Spot signs is that they're nice and chunky. And we're just going to paint this one kind of traditional colors too, using that pumpkin chalk paint on the wood. It'd be really cute if you left it wood as well. It has a chalkboard on the other side, so you could do lots of different things with this sign. And we're just painting that orange color, trying to avoid the hanger so that we can just leave that on. It did come with stencils, but I decided to give it my own face because jack-o'-lantern is so easy. So I just like use a Sharpie and draw on triangles for the eyes and the nose and a little toothy grin. But it came with stencils, so you could totally use the stencils that came with it too. And then I'm just going to go in with my ink chalk paint by Waverly in this nice black color. It is so dark. I love painting with that because one coat is all you're going to need. And super simple to paint this because you're just painting some basic triangle shapes on here. And a super fast little 5-minute Halloween DIY. This is very similar to the one that we did from Dollar Tree, but kind of a different version. This one's like a little bit taller. And I actually decided to make this one a standing decoration, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. The mouth was a little bit trickier, but with a small brush, I was able to pull it off. Just a simple little jack-o'-lantern face. You can do whatever kind of expression you want on there. And again, I'm distressing mine, but this is just personal preference. I love a good rustic look, so I distress mine with some ivory just to break it up, kind of make it look older and weathered. And I decided I didn't really have anywhere to hang it, so I'm going to make mine a standing sign to go on my shelf for Halloween. So I just removed the hanger that was already on mine, even though that was a great hanger. And I'm just going to use one of those little wood Jenga blocks from Five Below, hot gluing that to the back to make a nice chunky little jack-o'-lantern standing decoration in under 5 minutes. Super cute, super easy. Again, if you had more time, you could decorate the stem on that, but we were going for quick 5-minute DIYs here. Now, the next DIYs, I wanted to do some more Halloween gnomes, and these are the wooden gnomes that are for Halloween. They have the little his and her gnomes, and we're going to paint them and make them look really creepy for Halloween. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the little face of the girl in green to make her look like a witch. I'm going to paint the noses flesh colored on the male one. And as you can see, I painted all of the hair white to kind of give me a base coat for the beard on the boy and the hair for the girl. Now for the body on both of them, we are just going to do black. So I'm using ink paint that is in the color of black to do the body and to also decorate the little gnome hats. We're going to add a lot of fun little details to these little signs here to make them look like a little witch and a little wizard for Halloween. So at first I was thinking a black and white color scheme, and you could leave their hair that color, but I ended up changing mine to kind of make it a little bit creepier. But originally they were going to be black and white, so you can kind of get what they would look like if I would have left them that way. And I wanted a little bit of a brim here for the little witch's hat, but I didn't really have anything that was like black and straight to go across there. So I just painted some black Halloween ribbon black all the way and drew like a little moon and stars on our wizard hat with a metallic silver paint pen. And I'm going to outline him with that as well to kind of give him that like mystical wizard look. And then I'm going to glue that black ribbon across her nose there to give her a little bit of a brim for like a more traditional witch's hat. That's when I decided I wanted their hair to be gray and creepy for Halloween. So I decided to go back and distress all of their white hair with this elephant gray paint to kind of make it look old and creepy, to make them look like little old witches and old wizards. And I really love the fact that I did the little witch's face green. I think that's perfect for Halloween. They're going to be cute Halloween, but they can be a little bit creepy, right? Just touching up all of the paint on these. They do take a little while to paint, but they're really fun if you kind of take your time and do all the different steps here. Now I want them to hold little signs, so I decided to use some of these little wooden signs for Halloween. From Dollar Tree, I decided to do Wicked for her and Happy Halloween for him. And I'm just painting them pumpkin, bright orange with a makeup sponge, and then put those on the front. And I think that's the perfect final touch for these little DIYs. A very cute little set of signs. I'm going to reattach hangers and we're going to hang them together as a pair. And what do you think? I'm glad that I decided to make their hair gray because I think it looks really cute, but I think it would have been really cute if they had white hair as well. You'll have to let me know in the comments below.
I always enjoy a gnome DIY from any holiday. It seems like they have them at Dollar Tree for every single holiday now, but they're always a lot of fun to DIY. We're going to be doing a metal tier tray today, and I actually lined the tiers with some of the burlap and pumpkin ribbon from the Dollar Tree to give it a fun fall feel. The first DIY we're starting with here is one of those little wood ghost signs from Dollar Tree. And what I did was just paint that ivory for the ghost, and then I'm staining the base of it with some antique wax by Waverly. I'm also going to distress the ghost with that to give it that farmhouse feel, wiping off any of the excess stain with a baby wipe. And then I kind of want that ghost shape to pop, so kind of traced it out with a brown paint pen to give it a little bit more distressing, going around the mouth and the eyes as well. And I just wanted a really creepy little cute ghost to get this tier tray started. It's nice and tall, so we're going to put him right here in the back of the top tier, and we're going to keep on crafting. Now this already has the black and white buffalo check, and I think that looks really cute. This little sign from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to actually cover up Give Thanks on there with just some burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I also removed the leaves that were on there before. We're going to switch this up from Thanksgiving to Halloween. And we're going to do that with one of the little wood Happy Halloween signs from the Dollar Tree. And we are just going to simply paint that with some pumpkin chalk paint. And we're going to go with very traditional colors. So a lot of black and white like buffalo check, but mixed together with some traditional orange for Halloween. So this is a very traditional tier tray idea for you. And I glued that right to the front. Now I wanted to have a few pumpkin leaves, and I just picked up some leaves here just from some plants that I had from Dollar Tree. They weren't really the right color. So I'm actually just going to kind of mute those with a little ivory paint, wiping off the excess with a paper towel. And it's going to give me that soft green color that I was looking for, because I needed a couple leaves just to decorate this area where I removed the little cardboard leaves before. It's going to look way better. And then I'm going to replace the little burlap ribbon up here at the top just by hot gluing that on. Now the stem, I don't really like it being green, so I'm going to go in there with a little bit of ivory to try to soften it up, and I still didn't like it. So I went back in with like some cashew color to kind of give it that tannish brown feel to make it not quite so colorful. And you could still kind of see the green through it. So I'm going in there with another coat. And here it is, our little Happy Halloween buffalo check pumpkin. We're going to put that right here in front on this tier tray. Now for filler, I'm going to use some pumpkins from the Target Dollar Spot. Really love these because they're painted really nicely, better than the ones from the Dollar Tree, but we're going to be using some of those on this tier tray as well. And on to the next DIY. Sorry if the editing's a little choppy on this. This is an older video where I had to edit these on my phone. It was a lot more difficult to edit, and so it makes things a little bit choppier. But I am just painting the inside of this little jack-o'-lantern candle holder from the Dollar Tree with ivory inside. And that's going to make it, instead of the clear glass, it's going to make it look more ceramic. Kind of gives it a different vibe. Then I'm going to light it up with the little LED candle from Dollar Tree to light it up, and it just has a more traditional vibe than the clear glass. And we're going to sit that right here, decorating the second tier of this little Farmhouse Halloween DIY. Now, the next item was from Dollar Tree as well. It looks like a wood pumpkin. It's got our monogram on there. So I think it's perfect. I don't think I really need to do anything to it
It's got a little burlap bow at the top and everything. And we're just going to put it back here next to our little jack-o'-lantern candle. Now remember this guy? This is another one of those little ghosts from the Dollar Tree. This one actually lights up though, because it actually has a light in the bottom. So it kind of works like it should. And we're going to put this here. It's a nice size for the second tier tray as well, kind of peeking out the side. Now the next item I found at Dollar Tree is a little cauldron candle. Super cute, but it was really weird color. It was like green and white. So we're just going to give it a quick Halloween makeover with some ink chalk paint by Waverly to give it that nice black cauldron feel. And you can see like the texture and stuff on there is really cool. And it has a poured candle in there as well. So this is a fun find for Halloween tier tray. It just needs to be a different color, I think. I really think it looks cute in the black and it looks way more traditional. And we're going to put that right next to our little jack-o'-lantern. Now for some more filler, I thought we could use some of the black and white buffalo check pumpkins from Dollar Tree and some of the cream color ones as well. Because any of the areas that kind of need something on the tier tray, I want to fill them up with pumpkins for Halloween. So we're going to go ahead and take all of those. I'm also going to do some of this size as well. Why not? And kind of fill up any of the areas that need something just with pumpkins. Okay, this is my favorite DIY from this tier tray. We're going to take this cute little doll from the toy aisle at Dollar Tree. We're going to take her dress off, her shoes off, and we're going to give her a witch makeover. So I wanted my witch to have green skin. I'm using this color of green. I'm trying to remember what shade of green this is. If I still have it, I will try to find it and link it below because I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but I thought it was a perfect color for witch skin. And I'm just using a tiny brush and trying to avoid her eyes. We're going and painting her entire face green to make her look like a little witch. Now, I know you're like, that does not look like a witch. She has like a pink dress, blonde hair, but just wait. When we're done with her, she's going to look like the cutest little witch you've ever seen. But she's going to need to have all of her skin painted green because her dress, we're going to reuse that instead of making her new clothes. Shows a lot of skin, so all of her skin is going to need to be green. So we're just going to go over her arms and her legs and the rest of her body with the green paint as well. And again, I try to avoid her eyes just because they're really cute already, and I didn't want to have to repaint that area, but all of her flesh color, I definitely want it to be that green color. Now to make her witch outfit, we are just going to use that black ink chalk paint to actually paint her actual little pink dress and make it black so it'll look like a witch costume, right? So chalk paint works really great on fabric. I just soaked it all the way through, trying to get all the different layers of her skirt and stuff as well. Anything that's going to be visible from the outside, I want that to be black, and including her shoes. So she has these little pink slide-on shoes that come off, and so I go ahead and paint those with that same ink chalk paint to make those look nice and witchy. I'm using a fine tip Sharpie to kind of touch up her eyebrows that I may have painted over and any eyelashes that might have got some green painted on it as well. Now, she's got really cute hair, but once I took out like all of the ponytails, she's kind of a little bit bald on top, but that's okay because we're going to put a witch hat on her anyway. But I went ahead and took all of her hair out so we could paint it. Now, when I was a little girl and I used to dress up as a witch, we always had the best witch costumes. My mom had the long gray wig that we would wear with our witch costume, which was a wig that she had ordered that came in totally the wrong color. And it was this creepy color of gray. So this makes me smile because it reminds me of dressing up as a witch as a child. So this is just the elephant chalk paint. And I just paint all of her beautiful blonde hair until she has like a full head of gray witchy hair. And yeah, so ever since then, I just think witches should have gray hair, I guess. I don't really want to have gray hair, but I'm going to go ahead and slide my little dress back on her. The Velcro and everything still works on the back. And she has her little outfit as good as new, but now it is nice and black. It's touching up her hairline there. Got a little gray on her face. Gonna pop her little shoes back on. touching them up, making sure they're all black, no pink. And then, of course, every witch needs a witch hat. These are the little witch hat picks from Dollar Tree, just the right size. I picked the little black and orange witch hat for her and glued that on the top of her head, which does a great job of covering up her bald spot there. And then all of her gray hair can flow out, and this is how she turned out. I told you she was going to be cute, an adorable little green witch for this traditional tier tray. She's the star of the show, so we're going to put her right here in the front of the middle tier so that everybody can see her. How cute is she? Love it. Okay, on to the bottom tier. I'm going to make a really cool little haunted house scene by using one of these little plaque signs again from the Dollar Tree. I really love these. And I'm going over the whole thing first with ivory. And then we are actually going to cover that up with burlap. But I wanted to have an ivory base just because of the holes in the burlap. You're going to be able to see through it a little bit. And I wanted like the frame of the sign to be that pretty ivory color. I'm just using a roll of burlap that I had from Walmart, but you can always use burlap from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just trying to cut that down to size to cover the very front of the plaque. I'm just going to attach that with a little bit of hot glue. It doesn't take very much to attach this. You could always Mod Podge this as well. And I wanted that to be a really cute little background for a haunted house. And we're going to use the little black haunted house candle holder that you see there from Dollar Tree to do that. It's not on there great, like it's kind of soldered on to a little candle holder, but I thought with a little heat and a little muscle, we could pop that off because the little black metal haunted house was super cute. So I think the heat kind of worked better than anything, but you probably are going to have to go in there with some tools, kind of work it back and forth. And then I decided just to cut mine off because it was causing me trouble. It was such a thin metal I could cut through it with those KitchenAid scissors, which a little great tip. And then I just hot glued that onto the burlap. And then every haunted house needs a bat. So I'm going to use one of these little bat clothespins from the Dollar Tree. I don't need a clothespin on there though, so I'm going to try to pop that off without breaking it. Second time worked a little bit better. And we can paint this little guy black, and we can have a little black bat flying in the sky above our little haunted house. And I think the burlap and the ivory and the black works great with the color scheme we've got going on with this more farmhouse traditional tier tray. And again, I'm using a 5 below Jenga block on the back to make it stand up. And we have our little haunted house sign. We're going to put this on the bottom tier. It barely fits, but it does up on its side. Now I got this little pumpkin at Dollar Tree. It's got our monogram on it. It's orange. It's got a burlap ribbon. Color's perfect. Don't have to do anything to it. And it's a perfect size down here for the bottom of our tier tray. And as you can see, I did that ribbon on all 3 tiers. Now I want to make over this little tinsel pumpkin that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm not a fan of the tinsel, but I do like the cages. Now I went ahead and removed this stem, and I'm removing the little cardboard pieces for the little jack-o'-lantern face. But I'm actually going to leave the orange tinsel on there because I think we can cover it up. Now I'm going to use one of these little jack-o'-lantern canvas treat bags from the Dollar Tree to replace the face on that. And we can make this guy look a little bit better, I think, than the tinsel. Now, my first plan was to kind of cover the whole thing with this, but it really wasn't the right size, but we're going to make it work. So I'm just separating the front and the back of the bag by trimming down the ribbon so I can get that whole panel there with a little jack-o'-lantern face. These come in like 2 different faces, but they're pretty similar. And it's going to be a great face for it, but it's not going to cover up all that tinsel, kind of like I hoped. I tried to make it work and it just didn't want to work for me. So I actually switched up to some orange burlap ribbon that I had from Dollar Tree, and we're going to switch that up instead. But if you wanted to piece together pieces of the back of that bag, you could probably get it to work too. And so I just cut down a piece of the orange burlap ribbon to size and hot glued it directly on the tinsel. It did make this job a little bit easier not having to remove all that tinsel, and it actually did a pretty good job of covering it up. And we are just going to cover the entire side of this pumpkin with that orange burlap ribbon. Now this was a wired ribbon, so I was having to trim it down a little bit if I wanted to overlap one piece into the next like that to make it look more seamless. And we're just going to continue covering that entire back side just with the orange burlap ribbon. And my ribbon wasn't too wide, so it did take like 4 pieces to like cover the entire back here. But we made it work. And that's going to be the back of our pumpkin. Now on the front, I just kind of have to do the side pieces where you would still be able to see tinsel behind that face that we're going to replace. So I just cut down like a side piece out of the ribbon, just like that, cutting those down to size, kind of cutting that at an angle to go around the angle of the side of our pumpkin. And this does seem like a lot of work, but it actually turned out so cute in the end that I think it was worth it. Now for the face, we're going to use that bag that we planned on before. Just need to kind of trim it down to size. I went ahead and cut a hole for the stem so I could kind of wrap it around a little bit so I could get the face right where I want it. Hot gluing that to the base of the little pumpkin. And then just trimming off the excess material. And I'm just trying to make that kind of blend in with the burlap that we did on the sides. So I trimmed down the excess. I had wrapped it around the stem and then I went ahead and trimmed it up, just gluing that all down to the burlap and stuff to kind of make it more seamless. Then for the rough edge around the side, I'm just taking some Dollar Tree twine and we are going to just glue that all the way around, framing out the side of the pumpkin and covering up any rough areas that we have there and the transition. Then once we get up to the pumpkin stem, we can use that same twine to just wrap around the little pumpkin stem and kind of gluing it onto itself here at the top until you can cover all of the plastic and you can't see any of that anymore. So it did work in the end. I did have to kind of not do my original plan on this, but I love the burlap feel on there and I love that cute little jack-o'-lantern face. And so we made it work. Just trimming off my excess twine, and here it is, our little farmhouse jack-o'-lantern. So sweet, it almost looks like a little stuffed animal. And we're going to put it right here to the side of the bottom. I also found this little ghost at the Dollar Tree, but I thought it was a little tacky, so we're going to give it a little makeover. He's just got too much stuff going on. He's got a boo word, he's got eyes, a nose, a mouth. A ghost doesn't need that many details, and so carefully, I'm trying to use my heat gun to take off all that stuff, but as you can see, that fabric burnt a hole in it right there, but you know what? That's going to be the back of our ghost anyway, so you're not going to be able to see it. But I was just trying to get all that off there, and I wanted to kind of remake it a little bit better. I'm going to glue my hole shut there so I don't have any fuzz coming out anyway. And then I cut an excess piece of fabric off the back and just made a little patch from that little fabric from the bottom, I guess. Now for our face, I'm just going to use some black felt and we are just going to cut down some little cute little eyes for our ghost. He's going to be way more tasteful than the design they'd put on there. I think they got a little crazy decorating this little ghost, but I thought it was cute. The shape's cute, the burlap's cute, so I thought we could make a cute little ghost. Now cutting his circles, not as easy as you'd think. And then I cut like an oval for the mouth, and I think that's going to be plenty of decor for him. So this is the other side of it, nice and clean. We're going to hot glue his little eyes about here and his mouth right below. And I think he looks way better like this. What do you guys think? So our little burlap ghost, we're going to put him over here. He goes nicely with that little jack-o'-lantern that we just DIY'd. And then I need a little black cat. This is one of the little solar light black cats from Dollar Tree. It's super funny because like its eyes light up like that. Now mine was kind of chipped up, so I'm just going to kind of touch mine up anywhere that's chipped with a little bit of black paint. And then I thought it looked a little industrial with those kind of eyes, so thought we could soften it up a little bit with a little twine from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to hot glue that around his eyes to kind of mask that more metallic feel from the silver lining of those lights, and to kind of give it a fun little farmhouse vibe with that twine. And I think he's going to be really cute. I don't know how long he'll stay charged there, but being solar and all, but I think he's really cute even if his eyes don't shine. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here on the other eye. Just trying not to get too much hot glue on him. His nose and mouth are like already super cute, and he's just the right size for a tier tray, so I think he's gonna work. Gonna just burn off the fuzzies on that, and there's our little black cat with glowing eyes. And I think that's gonna finish off the bottom tier really nicely. I thought maybe a little bit more pumpkins as filler. And this was a really easy tier tray to do. Very traditional farmhouse vibe and very traditional Halloween colors as well. Let me give you a quick look around of how this one turned out.
Lots of fun, easy DIYs. I kind of love the color scheme on this one with a lot of orange and black DIYs, a little bit of buffalo check thrown in there. The little witch turned out so cute. One of my favorite Halloween tier tray DIYs I've ever done on my channel. But lots of fun ideas. Again, this is a 3-tier tray, so it definitely needs a lot to fill it up. But I think we did a really fun job here doing it. Lots of cute DIYs and just little things I could find from the Dollar Tree to fill this out. I love doing tier trays. I always have multiple, it seems like, in my house for different seasons. They're so fun to make, and you can get really creative with them, especially if you do a theme. I really hope you enjoyed these 60 Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs. You can tell they're from the Crafty Vault because I have the blue backdrop instead of the white. Please let me know which DIY was your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. I love reading your comments. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media, and this is the QR code if you'd like to buy me a coffee. Enjoy the final reveal. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's Halloween crafting marathon. Hopefully, you got lots of fun Halloween crafting inspiration. I'd also like to thank my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, Red Mama, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Mindy Hupp, Chinny, and Debbie Austin. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you would also like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, you can join on your computer or your phone by hitting the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube and a badge next to your name when you comment down below and a shout out in every video. We would also love to see what you've been crafting. Make sure to share your DIYs with us in our private Facebook group linked in the description of today's video, as well as chapters, and we also have links to printables. If you would like even more Halloween crafting inspiration, I've got you covered. Be sure to check out one of these DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for Halloween.